The legend of the wings of freedom. In the misty twilight of the Titan Age, when the world still trembled between chaos and order, there emerged beings not born to conquer, but to inspire. They did not roar like Typhon, nor bear fangs like Cerberus. They held no cunning like Athena, no thunderous command like Zeus. Yet Pegasus, a horse with feathers as white as the first light of dawn, soared not through power, but through poetry. He did not strike fear, but stirred awe. And in the vast tapestry of Greek mythology, it was not his strength, but his freedom and quiet tragedy that left the deepest mark on the hearts of gods and mortals alike. Born in darkness, a light from death. Among countless legends of Greek mythology, where tales often begin with love, with faith, or sacred vows beneath the stars, the story of Pegasus does not emerge from a lullaby, but from a scream, a cry of injustice, a death soaked in curses. Pegasus, the divine horse with wings as pure as morning light, was not born of peace. He sprang forth from blood and silence, from a tragedy that the gods themselves dared not name. His mother, if one could call her that, was Medusa, the most tragic of the three Gorgon sisters, and the only one who bore a mortal form. Once a radiant maiden, a devoted priestess in Athena's temple, Medusa's fate twisted cruelly when she was violated by Poseidon in that very sacred space. Yet Athena's wrath did not fall upon the violator. It struck the victim. Medusa was transformed into a serpent-haired monster. Her gaze could turn any living thing to stone. Her doomed life ended beneath the blade of Perseus, the hero guided by Athena herself. And when the fated strike fell, when Medusa's head was severed and her cursed blood spilled into the earth, something miraculous happened. From that neck, gushing black and sacred, two beings of wonder were born. One was Chrysaor, the golden warrior, a symbol of battle and might. The other Pegasus, a horse not ordinary, but celestial. Tall and noble, its coat glistened like fresh snow, glowing like moonlight over a still forest. But what truly stole the breath of gods and mortals alike were the massive wings rising from its shoulders, feathers soft as cloud, each beat of them sending ripples of wind across the heavens. Pegasus, child of monster and god, of sorrow and miracle, did not scream, did not stumble. He reared from the blood-stained ground where his mother died, and took to the skies as if he had always belonged among the stars. The gods atop Olympus looked on in stunned silence. Even Athena, the goddess of wisdom who had aided in Medusa's fall, was moved. For the first time, a softness flickered in her cold, calculating gaze. She approached Pegasus not to claim him, but to honor him, offering a golden bridle, not as a shackle, but as a symbol, a link between divine intellect and wild spirit. But Pegasus did not remain on Olympus. He was not meant to be tamed, not by thrones, not by gods, not by heroes. Instead of wearing the crown or bearing a master, he chose freedom. He soared toward Mount Helicon, home of the Muses, the 9 goddesses of poetry and the arts. And there, where his hooves touched earth, a sacred spring burst forth, Hippocrene, a wellspring of inspiration that would ignite the flame of countless poets across the ages. Pegasus never spoke, but everything he did whispered a truth. Even if you are born of darkness, you have the right to rise. You don't need anyone's permission to fly. Born of hatred, he became a symbol of purity. Forged in death, he lived like the dawn. Unchained by gratitude, untouched by ambition, Pegasus remains the freest being ever etched into Greek myth, a living embodiment of what it means to belong to no one, and yet inspire everyone. Bellerophon, the man who touched freedom and was burned by it. Though Pegasus was born from death, his life was never dark. Yet fate, like an invisible current, never spares those who carry too much power. And one day, that current reached a mortal named Bellerophon, a striking young man from Corinth, driven by noble dreams and the burning desire to rise above the limits of humankind. Some say he was the son of King Glaucus. Others claim he was a direct descendant of Poseidon himself. God or man, it made no difference. Bellerophon was still mortal, with eyes forever fixed on the sky and a heart ablaze with pride. From boyhood, he had heard tales of Pegasus, the divine horse of the dawn, gliding above Mount Helicon like a streak of living light. And he believed, with all his soul, that if he could ride Pegasus, he would become the greatest hero of all time, greater than Perseus, no lesser than Heracles. But Pegasus was not so easily claimed. Many had tried. Nets, traps, ropes, all failed. Pegasus, named for the spring, Pegi, from which he came, flowed like water through all attempts to bind him. No hands of man could hold him. Yet Bellerophon did not give up. He prayed nightly at Athena's temple, offering gifts and tracing the carved image of the winged horse with trembling fingers. One night, under moonlight and silence, Athena appeared in a dream, stern and radiant. She offered him a golden bridle, the only one Pegasus would ever accept, not a tool of control, but a gift of divine understanding. Bellerophon awoke, and the bridle lay beside him. At dawn, he walked quietly to the spring of Hippocrene, where Pegasus often descended to drink. As the winged horse lowered his head, Bellerophon approached slowly and slipped the golden bridle over Pegasus's brow. No struggle, no kick, just a glance, and the horse bowed ever so slightly, as if to say, "If it is you, I accept." From that moment on, mortal and miracle became one. They soared through skies, raced the wind, pierced the clouds. Never before had Pegasus allowed a rider. But for Bellerophon, he did. Their destiny led them to Lycia, where the monstrous Chimera ravaged the land, a creature with a lion's head, goat's body, and serpent tail, all breathing fire. King Iobates, hoping for Bellerophon's death, tasked him with slaying the beast. But with Pegasus, there was no fear. They outflew the flames, and Bellerophon hurled a lead-tipped spear into its maw. The fire melted the lead, burning through the Chimera's throat, and the nightmare was ended. Bellerophon was hailed as a hero. Kings respected him. The people adored him. He had beauty, glory, and the winged horse of legend. And then, at the peak of his triumph, he made his final, fatal mistake. He began to believe that if he could ride Pegasus and slay the Chimera, then why not ascend to Olympus itself? Why not sit beside the gods? A proud dream, a deadly illusion. Pegasus, born from cursed blood, knew better. He belonged to the sky, but not to heaven. Even divine beings understand that some lines are never meant to be crossed. But Bellerophon would not listen. He urged Pegasus upward, toward the realm of the gods. And though the horse hesitated, the mortal insisted. Each wing beat brought them closer to Olympus, and farther from the world they belonged to. From his throne of white clouds, Zeus watched silently. He didn't hurl a thunderbolt. He didn't roar. He simply sent a small, insignificant fly to sting Pegasus's belly. Pegasus bucked in pain, and Bellerophon, unprepared, was flung from his back, plummeting helplessly back to earth. Pegasus flew on, upward alone. He would carry no mortal ever again. Pegasus, freedom, Indiana, the sky, and the mortal who fell from it. Bellerophon fell, not just from the sky to the earth, but from the heights of ambition to the abyss of fate. Some say he died upon the rocks, shattered in body and pride. Others claim he survived, crippled and forgotten, wandering the world in silence, longing for death, yet denied even that mercy. A living punishment for daring to dream beyond mortal bounds. But no matter the ending, Bellerophon lost what mattered most. Pegasus, the divine steed who once accepted him, flew with him through storm and sky, conquered monsters by his side, and together forged legend. After that violent buck, Pegasus never returned to the mortal world. No one knows the last time those white wings graced the mountains of Greece. All that's known is this. After shedding every chain and every mortal hope, Pegasus flew, alone and unburdened, toward Olympus. This time, no man rode his back. And there, instead of punishment, Zeus welcomed him. For though Pegasus was not born a god, he carried something purer, the soul of freedom. Born from death, baptized in light, he sought no throne and craved no power. He was simply the embodiment of what both mortals and gods secretly longed for: unbound, unyielding freedom. Zeus granted Pegasus a unique honor, to bear the thunderbolts of the gods, delivering divine judgment across the world. Not because of brute strength, but because of trust. Trust that Pegasus would never betray his purpose, as some mortals had. As for Bellerophon, the once blessed hero, his name became a warning. A beautiful tragedy, etched in myth as a lesson, that the most wondrous things only remain with us when we are humble enough to honor them, and wise enough not to claim what is not ours to hold. And so Pegasus still flies. Some say, on nights when the stars fall like silver rain. If you look closely at the Milky Way, you might glimpse the shape of a white horse crossing the sky. Not a comet, not a dream, but Pegasus, immortalized among the stars by Zeus himself, to forever remind the world of a radiant age and a dream left unfinished. When wings are not meant for every dreamer. The tale of Pegasus is more than myth. It is a timeless parable about ambition and its limits. Pegasus stands for freedom, pure, radiant, untamed. But freedom is not something everyone can hold. Bellerophon once touched it, rode with it, even soared beside it. But pride pushed him further. He no longer sought freedom, he sought divinity. And in that moment, he lost everything. We, too, in this modern age, can see ourselves in that story. We dream, we strive, we yearn to reach greatness. But not every summit is meant for every soul. Not every path can be walked with courage alone. Sometimes, the truest strength lies in knowing when to pause, when to be grateful, when to protect what is beautiful before it slips away. And Pegasus, silent, wordless, emotionless, taught us one of the deepest truths simply by flying away. Freedom isn't just the power to go anywhere. It's the wisdom to know where you truly belong.